But yeah, if you could kind of maybe independently just talk about from leaving high school to when you met and laid eyes on CJ, and then we'll have CJ do the same thing.
Okay.
All right. I went immediately into the Army National Guard. So I actually have two dads. I have my pop, that is my stepdad, and then I have my dad. It was my pop who is actually from Huntsville.
Okay.
And he couldn't go into like the stores that the magazines are in. But I lost my thought.
You went right to the Army.
To the Army.
National Guard. Yeah.
Yeah. So my pop was trying to convince my brother to go into the Army National Guard, and then I overheard the conversation. I was like, "Oh, that could be good to, pay a little bit of my college." And so I think I'm going to do that. So my brother, he ended up going on to the Decatur Police Department, but I enlisted into the military. And my mom was like, "You did what?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go into the Army National Guard," because my pop, he did drill every month, and I would see him, and I was like, that looks pretty decent. I think I'll give it a go. I ended up loving the military. I really enjoyed the training. I loved it. And then what I learned about myself was I was going to go full-time active duty, but I realized I like telling people what to do. I am not an enlisted person. I'm more of an officer. I knew that immediately. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I went to UAB, did not like attending UAB, and that's what motivated me to apply to Howard. And so I transferred from UAB to Howard, and I could not change my my unit or whatever. They didn't have space for me. So the Alabama Guard was communications in Decatur. They didn't have space for me in DC, so I just ended up getting out. But I went to DC to attend Howard, and then from there, graduated, and then I was awarded a Fulbright fellowship, and went to Cornell to do some
Could you
intensive
explain
Japanese.
Fulbright for those who are not familiar?
Yeah, sure.
What the
So
Fulbright is?
it is a well-known program, and it was created by a gentleman, William F. Fulbright. I might not have the middle initial correct. And he was a senator, and he just wanted to create a program that encouraged Americans to go abroad and to share our culture. It was more like a cultural exchange program. And it also involves scholarship or academic excellence.
Okay.
And so I was awarded that for when I graduated from Howard. And so I got to go to live in Sendai. And what they do, all of the Fulbright awards are different. And mine involved an entire year. It was an incredible gift. I got an entire year of tuition paid for at Tohoku University in Sendai. And my main job was to learn and share culture. That was my job. And I'm tearing up now because I've never received a gift like that. Like, when I attended Howard University, I paid my tuition. I worked multiple jobs. And when I wanted to do a semester abroad, my parents gave me some money, but I had to work for every single dollar that I had in Japan. And so I remember getting on the plane, leaving my semester abroad, and I was like, man, these last few months, I was so broke. My host family even gave me a little bit of money. And I remember saying, the next time I come to this country, it's going to be paid for. I just knew it. It's going to be fully paid for. And I'm going to have a whole year or longer, and I'm not going to have to worry. And it actually happened. I got this incredible gift that I got to go abroad. I got my language lessons were paid for, and my entire job was to go to class and to cultural exchange, getting to know people from other countries, and not just Japanese, but the other students. And it was amazing. It was quite a blessing.
That's really cool.
It was awesome. And so I loved Japan so much that after my Fulbright year was over, I was like, you know what? I think I want to move to Tokyo. And I want to be a career woman in Tokyo. I want to get a job, and I want to pay off my student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And
how fluent were you at that time?
Not very. Conversational at most.
Yeah.
You know, we call it taxi go. So we can speak, you know, fluently enough to tell somebody where I'm going, and I can speak fluently enough in the grocery stores, and when I introduce myself, I can convince a native Japanese speaker, oh, she's actually a good speaker. And then I'm like, all right, let's switch over to English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and then I moved to Tokyo. I got a job at a recruitment company, and then this guy joined the company.
Was it Optia?
Optia Partners, KK.
All right, so let's pause there. Okay. Now we go back to Oregon, Pacific Northwest.
Sure.
Couldn't be a little bit more different than Alabama.
Opposite
and this guy's being prepared.
In so many ways. I will say, however, that there's Oregon and there's Portland.
Okay.
I love that he has the preference.
And I mean, especially here, right? And I really like to say I'm from Oregon. I'm not from Portland. I do like Portland.
Which city are you from? Eugene?
It's a small town called McMinnville.
McMinnville, all right.
Not a lot of claim to fame there. Linfield College, the small liberal arts school there. But it's about 45 minutes kind of southwest of Portland.
Okay.
Yeah, great little town. Graduated high school, and I'm a transfer like Takara as well. Started at Portland State University. It was close to home. I thought it would be fantastic at that time. This was in the kind of early mid 90s when Portland was still cool and safe, before the last 25 30 years happened.
Back when the Blazers were actually pretty good.
That's right. Well, I mean, I think the last time that happened was the year I was born. And so, but I didn't realize what it meant to go to like a commuter school when you're 18, 19 years old. And I think the average age student at that time was 27. And it was the campus was right downtown. So there was some cool things, but I just thought, you know what, this is not for me. I actually realized I do want a more traditional college experience. And I had at that point gotten into cheerleading. I was a college cheerleader, and I knew a couple of, I had a girlfriend who was on the cheerleading squad at the time. Her and her friends were wanting to do this, it's like a student exchange where you could go to another college for a year in another state, in-state tuition. So I thought, all right, I'm going to try this out too. So I started looking at schools, and I just thought, okay, where's far? Where's different? Where's going to give me this traditional college experience? I can try that out for a year. And I landed on University of Connecticut at UConn in the stores. And so I thought, all right, well, I like this cheerleading thing. I'm going to try out over there and see if I can just keep that going while I'm there. And I made it. And so went and initially was just going to do 1 year at UConn and go back. But I fell in love with just the whole campus life and the atmosphere. And they had a great basketball program.
Yeah, they sure
so
did.
In that second year that I was there when I graduated at UConn. I decided to stay. We won the national championship, so I got to be there for that down in it was Tampa.
You were
at
cheering?
the time. Yeah,
that's so
cheering
cool.
there. Yeah, so that was.
So that might be something where we go on YouTube and find the highlights and see him.
You could probably see that.
Could.
There's some photos, and I don't know if there's video.
Was that Rip Hamilton's year?
That was. Yeah. So Rip Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin, Jake Voskuhl,
who's the
Ricky
big guy?
Moore. Well, so they had the big white guy, Jake Voskuhl, at the time. He was there. Yeah, he was there. So, but he might have gone one couple of years in the NBA. A lot of them did. I still have a basketball signed by that entire team. Yeah, since they just won in the last couple of years, I should sell it.
What year was that?
99 was the
That
first
was
time.
99.
The first time they won was 99. Then they won again in 03 or 04.
Yeah.
They're kind of like every 5 years. Yeah, basically every 5 years. And what I do bracket-wise come March Madness time, I just pick UConn all the way, which outside of Connecticut is a great strategy.
Yeah.
Because every 5 years you're going to win.
You're going to win. That's not bad.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, was there, graduated. At that time, I wanted to be a teacher. And I was in my senior year, and I was a history major, but I was also taking a Mandarin, Chinese, and French. And an advisor asked, she said, why?
What are you doing,
When
bro?
are you doing this? You know, you're a senior, you've got the credits, you don't have to do this. And I'm like, well, first of all, I like it. And second, 12 versus 18 credits, same price,
Yeah, yeah.
Why not? She's like, if you thought about linguistics or languages, I mean, this is unusual. And at that time, I had no idea what linguistics was, but that just opened a door, put me on a path. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this combination of teaching and languages. So I went and got a certificate to teach English. I wanted to travel abroad. So that took me to Hawaii. I did a teaching certificate for teaching English there at Hawaii Pacific University. Good program. I had been in Hawaii a couple of times and loved it. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go out there for a year and have fun, get this certificate, then go on to teach. And that's what led me to Asia for the first time. So professor there introduced me to these guys that ran, it was in this incubator. They created educational materials. It was like ESL, like English as a second language educational materials. And it was on a university campus in Seoul, Korea. And so I got that job right out of that program. So kind of my first job out of college was in Seoul, Korea, writing English language teaching materials for this thing. And I also taught while I was there. And that then led me into the university teaching stuff. Yeah. So got the job at the university there and decided I like this. I'd like to make a little bit more money. I'm never going to make that much money in teaching, but I'd like to make a little bit more. So if I'm going to do this as a career, I need to go back and do grad school. So that's what I did. Back to Hawaii, University of Hawaii at Manoa, and went to grad school for what they call second language acquisition. It's just kind of how we learn and teach multiple languages. And that was a wonderful experience. I mean, it was probably one of the top 5 program. My opinion, I'm a little biased. I think it's the best program in the world for it, but it's at least top 5 program for that. Really heavy academic focus. I mean, the professors in grad school, they would tell us like everything you do it with the intention of getting it published. They're like, we don't want to see anything from you that we don't think you can at least attempt to get that published. And it was, I mean, the pressure was, I mean, it was intense, but it was also great experience. But also realized, like, I don't think I want to work in universities. I got that close to it. I had a TA-ship there, so I did a lot of teaching while I was in grad school, and I loved the content, but I just thought, I don't think I can survive, not even the external, but just the internal politics of a university. I just thought, this is probably not for me,
That's got to be a high percentage.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily just that. I'm sure there's percentages in any sort of industry and profession where you think like, oh, I want to do this, but you don't necessarily think about all of what that means.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait a minute. It's not just, you don't just get to teach and you love your subject, but
that's right.
It's an administration. There's going to be you're going to do this, you're going to do that, bureaucracy rules, et cetera.
And honestly, part of it too was just the grant writing.
Yeah.
I just felt like kind of just constantly asking for money and, that struggle was, I just thought, I don't know if I want to do this for, my whole life. And I wanted more flexibility. The top programs in the world were in places I didn't really want to live, besides Hawaii. And I thought, I'm going to have to live in some crappy places for 25 years before I can get back here.
Where's the Manoa campus?
Manoa is right in Honolulu. If you're in Honolulu proper, it's basically, you're in Waikiki, which a lot of people know, and you just look at the mountains, it's straight up.
Did you know they're tearing down Aloha Stadium?
Yes. Yeah.
What are they going to replace it with?
Another.
A smaller.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be smaller.
Really?
Yeah.
We were there. We just took our first trip and we went to the swap meet, which was awesome.
Yes.
That was so cool. And I thought I went to the restroom at some point and then there's people who go into the stadium and it looked like decent to me.
Yeah.
And this is the last weekend. We're tearing it down. It's a piece of crap. I'm like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, oh, it's been condemned for years. I'm like, well, I must have rose-colored glasses because I wasn't seeing it.
Well,
like,
you're in
this
Hawaii.
eyesore.
Yeah, I mean, there's palm trees all over. It's
I guess.
80 and sunny.
But that thing was amazing. It just went around the whole stadium.
It's neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool stadium. And I've seen the mock-ups of what they're gonna replace it with. It looks pretty neat. I'm a little skeptical they're gonna be able to kind of do it like they make it look like they want in that kind of Pearl City and all that. But we'll see. Maybe they transform the whole thing.
Sure. I love. So I have a buddy. We call them Howleys, right? Those white guys, whatever.
Which is apparently not a derogatory term until somebody apologizes to you for saying it around you, and then you're like, "Wait a minute, I thought this wasn't derogatory. Why are you apologizing?"
My best buddy that I met later in life. He's from Laia on the North Shore.
Okay.
And he converted me to Hawaiian culture with food. Like when we lived in Virginia together for a while. Yeah. And now one of the things I make a lot is Hawaiian barbecue, like short rib and teriyaki chicken.
Yeah.
And I love L&L, the Hawaiian barbecue chain.
Yeah.
And but like we went somewhere, my wife and I was like, listen, when you're traveling with me and there's like something like an L&L nearby, and now we're in Hawaii, we're gonna have this at least once a day. For either lunch or dinner, and we're gonna keep trying them.
Yeah.
And there was this place somewhere near Aloha Stadium. Like, this is it. This is the best I've ever had. Because I've been to Vegas. There's one called Island Style up in Summerlin that's really, really good. I've now departed from saying L&L's the best because I've had other that are good. Yeah. But there's this one, I can't remember the name of it. I have to ask my wife. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is it. This is the best Hawaiian barbecue mixed plate I've ever had.
Yeah, good plate lunch. Hard to beat.
Love plate lunch.
I mean, I still, maybe not every week, but at least every 2 weeks, we'll make spam musubi for our kids in their lunches. I'm on lunch. I'm on lunch duty. So good. Yeah, I miss it. I miss it a lot there.
Me too.
A lot of good stuff about that place.
So go ahead.
I'm there for a couple of years in grad school. I fell in love with the content, just not so much in love with academia as a career. But I was all in at that point, right? I mean, I was about 25. I'd been in a classroom either sitting or standing since I'm like 5 years old, right? So I rolled with it. Got another job at a university in Kobe, Japan. That was the same year that she was in Sendai. So we were there for the same year, 2 different universities. I'm in Kobe, and started looking for, how do you transition out of academia, like into what? All right. I spoke pretty decent Japanese. I had some experience there, but I thought, what are you going to do? So I met with some guys that I knew were recruiters, and I thought, like, okay, these guys kind of know about, career things, what can you do? They just recruited me into recruiting. So I left that university after a year, moved to Tokyo, just took a massive gamble, and joined this recruiting company, Optia Partners, same one, and just absolutely fell in love with it, and fell in love with this one over here too. Yeah.
So how did you meet at Optia?
Well, so, I mean, really we first met like on my first day as I was being walked around the office and introduced to everybody, right? And I mean, it was a neat company. I mean, we're right in the heart of Tokyo. At that time, the head count was about 45 people, and there were 14 different nationalities in this country, right? So with that small a number, what did I say? Country? This is a classic Japanese English thing to switch company and country, and it is that we laugh about it because we spent so long in that country and speak Japanese. I still study Japanese almost daily on the Duolingo.
But oftentimes we switch up company and country when we're speaking.
Okay, so in that company of 45 people, there are 14 different countries represented. It was just it was a really cool spot.
Yeah.
And so I was being introduced around, and up pops Takara with this massive smile and this big handshake. She reaches over the little, not full cubicle, and she's just, hi. And my first thought was like, oh, they got hot chicks here too. Great. Cool.
What did your hair look like back then?
I think I had it in braids.
Was it long?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you had twists at that point.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It would have been like this. So these are locks, but I used to wear braids.
Okay.
Braids is part of the
So,
story.
yeah.
I remember now. Yeah.
Totally.
Braids is part of the story.
Yeah, because we started hanging out regularly. And I remember he asked me one day after work, he's like, "What are you doing this evening?" And I was like, just going home. And he's like, "You want to hang out?" I was like, "Nope."
Not with you.
And
Which
he
she
was
often
like-
did.
And
Yeah.
he was like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Well, I'm taking my hair down this evening,
Oh, wow.
and in Black girl world, you take your hair down, it's a thing. You get wine and you get your movies queued up, and it is self-care." And so I was like, "No, I'm taking my hair down this evening, And he was like, "Oh, well, is it hard? I can help." And I was like, "What? You want to help me take down my braids? Really?" And he was like, "Yeah. How hard could it be?"
Yeah. 3 a.m. I'm like,
I'm tired,
still
man.
going. I can't feel my hands.
When do we get to eat?
And seriously, I fell asleep. So he took my braids down. I think he took like half of my hair down.
Really?
All by himself because I was asleep.
Wow.
Fell asleep. I kept going. I
He
felt
did.
like, yeah.
And then
I
you woke
mean-
up and you were like, "What? Like he did a good job?"
He did. I was like, "Wait a minute. You kept going and you took all of my braids out? That's really awesome." Like I'd never had a guy like
You knew-
offer to take my braids out. I was like, "What?"
You knew you were gonna get big brownie points, didn't you?
I did.
Because I guess once you learned the concept, right? She gave you a tutorial,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then you're
yeah.
like, "I got this."
Yeah, technique. It's just, a matter of staying alive.
Staying awake.
Up, staying awake. Yeah.
So you were impressed.
I was. I thought that was really cool of him because once I went asleep, he could have totally stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, he was like, "No, I'm gonna finish."
Could've
To
fell
me,
asleep.
I felt like that was a huge show of great character.
So you obviously you said CJ. You thought she was attractive when they took you around. What did you think of CJ?
I thought he was really cute.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, he's American, And we didn't have a lot of Americans in the office, So I was the only female foreign recruiter in the office. So all of the other women were support. And so I often felt like the odd man out in the company because I was the only woman in my position, and it was very, very like chauvinistic type of environment. And if you get around a bunch of Australians, Frenchies, Brits, man, and it's a whole bunch of guys. I mean, the conversations that happen is just like, and I've always just been like, focus, head down, do your own thing. Don't worry about what's going on, So yeah, when another American came, I was like, oh, well, he's cute too,
There you go.
And he was really, really nice. So I love that he would often check in on me. He knew like she's probably feeling like an outsider. So I really appreciated his efforts of like trying to include me or bring me in or just even follow up and check on me. I thought it was admirable and I appreciated it.
So was that hard for you? Were you embarrassed somewhat of I guess these are male chauvinistic societies and some of that machismo where
Yeah.
you're like, well, really? Like, I guess you kind of realized how far we hopefully have progressed in the States
Yeah, absolutely.
with how we treat women.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so there's two parts to that, right? So yes, it was really noticeable, right? It was like, whoa, you just said that out loud, right? It was just shocking. Because we're in Japan, first of all, and then, you've got people from other countries and cultures, primarily Australia and the UK, where there's just a different attitude about those things. Sometimes I like to joke that there's no word for HR in these, in these cultures. Yeah, it may be different today. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was like 2006, 7, 8, and so on. But
yeah.
So there's that. And it really almost felt like
Locker room.
a locker room, like Mad Men plus a locker room, like combined, right? It's sort of what it
Yeah.
was. So there was that. And I mean, I remember just a bit of a tangent here. My first assignment that I went, the first client that I signed at this company, I go out and I meet this big potential account. The company's Perkin-Elmer, which a lot of people don't know if you're not in that industry segment, but relatively large company based out of Massachusetts. They've got an office in Yokohama, decent sized business in Japan, and they need a head of all of their service, support, operations, supply chain. For their Japan entity, the guy's in charge of about 300 people. And we do the whole search assignment. We have the meeting, agree on everything, and I'm going out the door, and the Japanese head of HR for Japan says, "Oh yeah, no women." And I'm just like,
Wow.
I mean, I literally, I froze. I'm in the doorway, and I'm like, okay. And then I walk on out, and I'm like, I started calling I called Phil, like, my boss at the time. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna believe what they just said. I just said it. And so the flip side was that as horrible as that stuff is, there was an ease to it because at least this guy was honest about it, right? Like I would prefer it to be otherwise, but the flip side was like, there was no hiding it. So it's just from a really practical standpoint, it made things a little bit easier.
It wasn't like later you actually find a candidate, it happens to be a female, and then you have to go through
and
these
everyone's pretending
mysterious reasons they don't want it.
Right.
No, just open discrimination. So of course you don't want that at all. It was straight up, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing: it is actually illegal. Technically, these things are still illegal in Japan, or are illegal in Japan even at that time. But yeah, just not enforced whatsoever. So yeah, and I think because we were becoming friends at that time, and I was quite aware. And I was, I played on the Australian rules football team with these guys at the office, and so I was very aware of everything. But also, Takara and I would spend a lot of time together, really initially just as friends, hanging out after work. So I would see like kind of through what she was experiencing and seeing in the office.
Yeah. I got a funny story for you.
Sure.
This was 2006, and it was on a huge IDIQ. You know what an IDIQ is?
No,
Indefinite duration of definite quantity. Basically, the government will do these massive contracts in the hundreds of millions, $1 billion, and then they'll award like 10 primes. And then the primes go out and get their subcontractors. And so it's basically just turns into like this subcontract farm. Subcontractors of, you're providing IT and anywhere where they need hundreds and hundreds of bodies, right? And so, anyway, I was on one of these things. And so what the government does is they put out a requirement. I need a database administrator, years of experience. And the idea is that if it goes out to 10 primes and all of their subs, and they're all going to fight over price and all that, ultimately you're going to get a really good candidate because they've really cast their net wide versus just having like one prime that you hire and then you just have to hope that their recruiting is really good or their subs really good, right? So they're kind of like decreasing their risk and spreading it. Anyway, I was a subcontractor and so later, and so after the fact, I get this job and I get in tight with like the government people I worked for and everything. And he and I were about the same age. And at one point, when he felt like safe to talk about it, he was joking around one day. He goes, Troy, I learned a lesson with you. I filled out the requirement for what they call it, like a project integrator. And I selected all these things. And then I went down to this other section that's new. And it was like 5'3" blonde. But I forgot to specify gender. So I'm like, dude, I'm at least 5'4". But like, it was so funny, but this was like 2006 when we could. I don't even know if we could joke about that stuff anymore, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's so stupid, like how sensitive we are. But I was like, that is good.
Yes.
And so we like every time we could, we would like tell that story.
Yeah.
That's good.
I forgot to specify gender. When you walked in, like, oh no, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. I wish we weren't so sensitive about things. I mean, you're talking to a guy who's been crossing out the word gender since the late '90s and writing sex on forums. Seriously,
really?
Like, hey, controversial. I don't know. Maybe I can't say this, but I mean, let's be technical. Don't want the right.
That's
want
true.
the right word on there.
So, what year did you guys get married?
2008.
2008. Okay, so we're going on 15 years.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Past
Past 15? You don't know.
Just past 15, right?
Did you celebrate it?
Yeah.
We
we
just
celebrate
passed 15,
every
right?
year. Yeah. Just past 15. Yeah.
Do you remember
So
what day you got married?
May.
So we
well,
have
we
two
actually
dates.
have 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in 2008, we took a wedding planning trip from Tokyo to Honolulu. And the goal was to, plan out our wedding and see what was available. And when we got there, we were all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And we met with a wedding planner. And she was like, all right, so tell me about the wedding that you would like to have. What are we looking at in terms of time? We were like, well, he's from Oregon. I'm from Alabama. We want to get married here in Hawaii. And we're thinking 4, 5 months, time frame. And she was like, you guys are kidding, right? And we were like, no. What happened? What's wrong?
What's the joke? Yeah.
And she was like, if you're going to plan a destination wedding, you have to give people like at least a year's heads up. And we were like, what? A whole year? We were shocked. And then we were like, what about 6 months? She was like, no, you really have to let people know. They have to save their money. They got to plan for it. And we're like, okay.
So and then booking the places that we wanted to
booking
on the
things.
island was, things are booked out quite a ways there.
Yeah.
So you got married there.
So
Yes.
we decided, well,
Let's get married today.
do we? Yeah, that's exactly what we decided, because we were like, do we delay nuptials for party planning? No, we don't. We can still have a really beautiful, awesome party, but we can get married, just the two of us before the Lord, and justice of peace. So that's what we did
In Hawaii.
in Hawaii. And then a year later, we actually planned it properly. We sent out save the dates and invitations, and we had a big, beautiful party a year later. So the first anniversary in 2008 is May 1st, and the second one is May 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So based on which ones we remember, that's what we. That's what we go off. That's what we celebrate on each year. Like, okay, which are we going to do?
Somewhere in that
which
week
date
is
are we
good.
going to do? Yeah, we got a whole week. Yeah.
Did you ever think, CJ, growing up, when we think about when we're going to get married and who we're going to get married, that you would get married in Hawaii?
I did not think I would get married, full stop. I certainly did not think I would get married in Hawaii, and did not think I would get married to a girl from Alabama who I met in Japan. Like, none of that.
Yeah. I forgot the rest of that.
None of that was predictable at all.
You didn't want to get married at all.
It's crazy.
No, I mean, I don't think I ever thought about it. But by the time probably like my late 20s, I mean, I was living in Asia at the time. I'm in Japan. And no, I thought I was just going to be, working in universities and probably in Japan or somewhere in Asia, and just kind of have this single life forever. I mean, I had lots of friends there who had met and married Japanese women. And, I was totally open to that. But I also saw a lot of cultural stress and difficulty in those relationships, which, there's also some that are totally fulfilling and amazing. But it just felt like there was quite a bit of risk there. So I just started thinking, maybe I'm not going to get married. Maybe I'm just going to be, single forever. And then I met this one, and literally everything changed like in a moment. So,
and what were your thoughts growing up in Decatur on marriage and, kids and just, what you dreamed about?
I've always been quite goal driven. I felt like I would eventually want to marry and have children, but it was never like, that's my goal in life. I've just always wanted to pursue whatever it is that I wanted to do. And when I get something in my mind about like, this is what I want, like I really just go for it.
Yeah.
And so honestly, being in Japan, like I just wasn't thinking about like future prospects seriously, like I would go on dates and whatnot. And I actually was dating a German guy who lived in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
When CJ joined the company, So, I mean, I just wasn't like, I was like, yeah, sure, I might get married eventually, but I'm really career focused right now. I really wanted to pay off my student loans. And I just had it in my mind. I wanted to pay off student loans, save money, and then buy a house, like repatriate back to the U.S. and buy a house.
Okay.
And then CJ came along, and I just remember thinking how easy it was to be around him, for us to just chit chat for hours. And we just had a very similar vibe,
Good chemistry.
It was really, really easy. Yeah. And I thought, well, I mean, if I am going to marry, it would have to be somebody like CJ, like somebody who's my friend first, who, we kind of know each other or whatnot. And so, yeah.
Okay. I tell you what, I think I want to go through some pictures that I pulled from your Facebook.
Oh,
I've just randomly selected a few pictures.
Yeah.
One of them, which you already saw.
I love this.
I call this
the fun podcast.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is the picture pack. Let's see. Let me do this. So there's a couple reasons. Number one, I love this jacket that you got on, CJ. Like, that is
Versace.
Is it Versace?
It's Versace.
Did you buy it at Bucci's?
I did not buy it.
Boosie.
Boosie's?
Boosie's, no.
Boosie's.
No, so thank you for that. And there's actually pants that go with it, but I was just like, I need to ease into this.
Yeah.
If I go the pants,
You still own it, right?
Yes.
That's a sweet jacket.
Thank you.
What are you? Like a 38 regular?
Yes, good
Really?
one. Or
Wow.
or S.
Or short, yeah.
Or S. Yeah.
Skills.
Thank you.
He does.
I've been between
makes
a
me wanna
40
go
and a
and run.
46 in jacket sizes. I go up and down in my weight.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. You calling me a 38 makes me want to go run to make sure I'm still 38.
So this is at a soiree.
Yeah.
Soiree
Noir.
Noir. Yeah.
Noir, yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, so it's a black event here in Huntsville. And so I told CJ, one thing that we've discovered about Huntsville is still quite segregated. So that's something neither of us really like, because a lot of the events are either it's majority white or majority black, right? And so, but it gets really fun because there are some things you can wear to black events that you definitely would not wear to white events. And so the jacket and pants combo, definitely he could wear to, Soiree Noir. Well, but you didn't have the pants to that jacket.
No,
though,
the other practical thing is about that dynamic is you don't need as many outfits to go out in, because I can ask, like, okay, wait, did I wear this one to a white event? Yeah, did I wear this one to a white event? Yeah.
So I love that. I mean, based on who we are, we have access. I mean, everybody has access to everything basically, but it feels like we can move with ease here in Huntsville. But one of our goals, honestly, with Huntsville Magazine is we want to have events that are not so clearly like we want more diverse events where it's equally and it's not either or,
I met this guy. I was telling you about that gala earlier. He was a black guy named Brandon.
Yeah.
And I was looking at his jacket. It's like, Wendy, my wife, like, look at that jacket.
Yeah.
And I went over and took a picture with him. I was like, bro, I got to take a picture with him. Where'd you get this? He's like, I got this at Nordstrom, man. Yeah. And I was like, good. I like it. I'd have it on my phone somewhere, but it's buried. Nice. But yeah, good looking jacket there. And then let's see, what do I have here? We're going, tell me about this picture.
Okay. So this is my grandma.
On your maternal?
That's my maternal. That's my mother's mom. And her name is Margaret. She's the one who sits on her porch. She drinks her beer and she just hams it up with her neighbors. And I absolutely love it. And what I love about my grandma, she's still no nonsense. Okay. She is still so sassy. Ask CJ. I mean, she's just, whenever she comes over, she's
fantastic.
hilarious, you know.
really is.
She's losing her hearing a little bit, so she's even sassier because she don't even know what you're saying.
Is she 85 or 94? Which one?
No,
is
she's
she?
85.
She's 85.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is your son?
My son, Noah. Yes.
He's the youngest.
He's our youngest.
Okay. Let's see. We're going up. Oh, there's Grandma with your other daughters.
Yeah. So, the one in the stripes, that's Kira. And then right there in the middle, holding on to Grandma, is Leia. And then the little one is Nia.
So three girls and a boy.
3 girls and a boy. Our
That's the
sweet
opposite of what I have.
babies.
3 boys and a girl.
Yeah.
Awesome. And now I love the trophy. This trophy's probably taller than her.
Uh-huh.
Is that a first place trophy?
I can't remember. Oh, they got the runner up. So this was the Buckhorn youth tournament for basketball, and they were the runner up team.
And you're the sponsor
Yes.
on the jersey.
Yes.
That's us.
I like that. Look at your success.
We believe in sponsoring teams, man.
Man, you guys, everything you touch is gold.
Well,
You're winning trophies
these
in
are
your first
some-
year.
These are some athletic kids, man. I'll tell you.
They
I think they get
are.
it from her. I don't know if they get it from me, but they are.
I'll claim it. I'm quite athletic.
Now, this is your mom and sister, CJ, or what?
This is my mother and my sister-in-law. Yes.
Sister-in-law?
Yeah, and then my nephew Lincoln, and then also that's Noah and Nia there. So
And
Noah
that's
as a baby.
on Oahu,
On Oahu, that's right, and that's in Kailua Beach Park, right?
right after Noah was born in 2019.
Wow.
They came and spent Christmas with us.
Man, that unfortunately, that west side of Oahu, the homeless problem is really,
Man, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
it's really bad.
Yeah,
I-
it keeps getting
mean-
worse over there, you know. Yeah.
But buying a house in Hawaii was quite difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, just
So
getting over
it-
the cost, right? I mean, that's the main thing. Is
Yeah,
just trying to
it's
get your
just
head
so
around the
expensive.
cost is-
I don't think I could live there
yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
We can talk about that later.
Okay, sure.
But
Yeah.
there's so much. And then, so tell me about this. I love this picture because it's very
Great
multicultural. There's a lot
this
of.
photo's gonna make me cry.
Please do cry. And so tell us about this photo.
This photo is my friends in Honolulu, and they're all a part of my. I owned a fitness franchise, and it was Fit for Mom Honolulu. And we were celebrating pregnancy. I just found out that I was expecting Noah. And the funny story is, about 2 weeks prior to this photo, I actually went on a mom's night out with a lot of them. And during the mom's night out, I was like, man, I am feeling really weird. And we were celebrating my youngest girl being able to pour her own cereal, because you know when they can feed themselves,
that's
it's
nice.
like, oh,
It's a beautiful day.
Yes. So we were celebrating getting over that hump, right? And I was like, man, I'm feeling really weird. And my friends asked, what is it? I was like, I don't know, but it's eerily feeling like pregnancy. And they're like, Takara, what? I'm like, I don't know. It's feeling like pregnancy. And I actually, on the way home from that mother's night out, I went to a store and got a pregnancy test. And I took it, and that thing was screaming pregnancy. And I was like, what?
We got to celebrate again.
So they were celebrating, like, Takara, you're going to have another baby.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I miss them.
What's their names? Let's go like starting down here.
Yeah, this is actually my best friend, Lisa Kimura.
Okay.
This is Lulu. Man, I don't know.
Lulu is over here.
Lulu Chin. Yeah.
Oh, Lulu Chin. Okay.
Uh-huh. In the red and floral is Nani.
She's Polynesian.
She's Filipino.
Filipino. Okay.
Yeah. And then Naomi.
Naomi.
Jen, Noemi, and I can't believe I have forgotten her name.
Now this is a while ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was a fun time.
This was our honeymoon in no. This was in Singapore.
That's in Singapore at the Raffles Hotel. Yeah.
So we had 2 honeymoons.
2 weddings and 2 honeymoons.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. The honeymoons were back to back though. There was kind
They
of
were.
one. Yeah. But this was the second half of it, or the second leg, at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. And if you don't know the Raffles in Singapore, it's a historical piece. And our friends had a wedding there. But this is kind of right in the heart of Singapore. I think the hotel was built around the 1880s or 90s, I think. And then, had, several decades of glory, and then fell into disrepair probably from around the 30s, and then at least until like maybe the 70s or 80s. And then it got redone. The Raffles bought it and redid it and restored it. And they have a butler button, so there are butlers assigned to each level of rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they tell you how many seconds they can get to your room if you press that button.
Wow.
There's not a phone. They're like, don't call. There's not I think there is technically a phone that if you have an emergency, but they're like, no, to get us, you just hit the button.
And CJ really loved this concept. He's like, really?
I'm all about it.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I ring the bell, they really will be here in under like 30 seconds.
And they'll do all kinds of things too.
And they will.
I mean, it's just about anything within reason.
You got to tip them well, though, right?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, and you're paying.
Well, the last one I have is just, let's see, is a different. Let's switch off of that for a second so I can load it up, just in case it gets stuck.
Man.
Oh yeah, here's the last one, and this is cool because this actually came from a video. This is a screen capture.
Nice.
I'm presuming. Let's do this. I'm presuming that that was the first time you saw your issue in a store. And so talk us through that. So basically, this is a magazine rack. I think it's in a pharmacy.
It's in a Publix.
It's in a Publix. Mm-hmm. And there you go. And you took it's about a 9-second video.
Yeah, so CJ took this video, and we had established this distribution relationship months ago. And when the relationship had been established, we would, after a couple weeks, we would go into the stores and check all the time. Yeah. And then finally, we were just like, it's not in there. We don't know what's going on. And both of us were just super disappointed, right?
It's in Birmingham at the processing center.
At the processing center. Even the distribution goes through Birmingham. Yeah. It doesn't, but so this is a Friday evening. CJ, we do a movie night with our kids. Yeah. And so CJ was on snack duty. So he went over to Publix to buy our family all types of snacks so that we could enjoy movie night. And he texted me this video, and our magazine was in our Publix right down the road. And I just couldn't believe it. I literally burst into tears when I saw it, because it has just been, it has not been easy starting this magazine. Mm-hmm. And every single thing that we've done, it has been a lot of work involved with it, on the back end. And so seeing that finally in a Publix was just such a big moment for us. It's really indescribable. And yeah, we would continue to go in, and we would see it slowly dwindle down, and CJ even got the chance to watch someone pick it up in an aisle. Tell them the story about somebody picking it up in the aisle.
So there's a few of them. I try not to be a stalker. But I do have a few of these stories. I mean, anytime I see somebody engaging with it, I kind of hold back and watch.
What you got there?
And then I do. I'm like, oh yeah, honey, what do you think about the magazine? And I have a little chat with them, and so I mean, I've done it in that Publix right there. We had a Best Lawyers feature, and there was I think a young woman and her mother behind us, and they grabbed it off the rack and started talking about it, and they actually said, I'm in here. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's cool. And we started looking at it, and we didn't, let on that we we're the publishers
That's
of it
cool.
initially. And then another couple at Whole Foods. And Whole Foods was when we saw it on the rack at Whole Foods, that was a big thing because that's where I used to see Honolulu Magazine all the time, was at our local Whole Foods there. And I just knew, like, as soon as we're on the rack at the register at Whole Foods, okay,
Major milestone.
That's a milestone. We're good.
Yeah.
And we are now here at all of them. So that was a huge one. The other flip side to that, the great thing about that photo and what it reminds me of is that was the first time seeing it in a location that I didn't have to deliver it to.
Yeah.
So that was also
Well, the other thing
huge
that
one.
I really like about this photo too is that it's right underneath those gift cards.
Yeah.
So you got like good location.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the top right corner, and that's a pretty good set of gift cards
Eye-catching.
that are
Yeah.
that are there
Totally.
for you, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they hooked you up, I think, as far as location.
Yeah, so many of our retailers have been great like that, and they sell out. That's the other
They
thing. So
really
we've had to
do.
dial in the numbers, but location is a huge part of it, right? As people need to see it. Like Barnes and Noble, they fly off the rack there, and they have treated
At
us
both locations.
both locations. They've been so good.
They've been the best.
They give us our own little rack, and it's right there when you come in the door on your way to the coffee shop, and it's like new and noteworthy in our own space. And
That's cool.
They're so great. Yeah, we're really grateful.
Yeah,
for that
it was the
partnership.
Barnes and Noble relationship and things going so well there that opened up doors to distribution so quickly. Because normally magazines don't get distribution until like year 2 or 3, sometimes later. But because we had such good sales traction with the 2 local Barnes and Noble here, that the distributor was like, "Oh, okay. You sold that many. They're moving. Okay, well, let's give it a go. Let's see how it goes."
So throughout the whole quarter, while it's on the shelves until the next one comes out.
Yeah.
So they buy up a certain stock of them, and then they run out, and they can buy more and just keep buying.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting it kind of dialed in we know about how many you're going to sell throughout. And then I think the last 3 weeks or so, we'll stop restocking it, and just when the new one comes out, because people are not normally going to buy. We're kind of moving into the next season.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they sell out, and the distributor, they're very good at planning it. And then for our smaller ones, yeah, we just have to dial in over time. Each location sells a little bit differently. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, you guys ready to battle each other in some trivia?
I'm gonna do my best.
Stay
I'm
ready,
gonna do my
okay?
best.
I am
This is
quite competitive.
This is for bragging rights. Whoever
Let's
loses
go.
pays for Bob Gibson's,
All right.
Nice.
right?
Good play.
Let's see here. We are going to go to, here we go. All right, so I'm not going to show you what I'm looking at.
Okay.
All right, so Takara, ladies first. We'll start with you.
All right.
Do you want general, food and drink, or entertainment? Those are the 3 categories that we're going to work through. And we're going to do, let's do 5 questions each.
Let's go general.
General
Let's see what you
trivia.
got.
Okay, here we go. How long is an Olympic swimming pool in meters?
Let's go with 30. 30 meters.
50.
50. All right. I suppose we'll, I guess I should keep score.
You should.
Although these are low numbers.
She's keeping score right now.
She's keeping score.
Yes, I am.
We'll figure this out on the fly. So here's what I'm going to do. You got to get a half a point if you get the answer right if someone got it wrong.
Right.
And you get a full point if you just get it right when
Okay.
it's your turn. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So you're going to get a half a point there, Christian.
Okay. Got it.
All right. So Christian, you want general food and drink or
Let's go food and drink.
food and drink? All right. Here's your question.
Okay.
What is the rarest M&M color?
Orange.
Green.
It's brown.
Oh, I totally thought
really?
brown was going to be like a common one because
thought it
they're
was
chocolate.
common.
That's
I guess
why
that's my
ruled it
sound
out.
for like when you're wrong.
Yeah,
It's just
nice
a
one.
grunt.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Teach you
All
a
right.
little Japanese, Troy. You can give us you can do this as a batsu.
Batsu?
Yeah, batsu is,
All right. General food and drink or entertainment?
Well, I guess I'll go with entertainment, Pat.
Okay. I think I could have.
Alex.
No,
I could have.
Alex,
I could have
yeah.
debuted for Jeopardy or something. I could do just as good as those people.
Oh, for sure.
All right. What TV series showed the first interracial kiss on American network television?
Whoa!
Cool. Good question for us. Yeah, there you go.
Wow. I did not plan that. I'm just
What
like,
TV show?
what TV series
Oh, TV series.
showed the first
I Love
interracial
Lucy.
kiss on American network television?
I Love Lucy.
Batsu.
So now I get to guess.
TV show. First interracial.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
What? I didn't even know there was a TV show that featured an interracial
Well,
couple.
I know we're on the clock here, so.
I didn't bring the clock.
No, okay. All right. So let's go.
So,
Well, I know this is probably not it, but I really want it to be on the Brady Bunch.
No, the correct answer is Star Trek.
Star Trek, of course. Star Trek would do it.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Perfect.
All right, so your round 2 question now. Food and entertainment.
Okay.
Food and drink, entertainment or general?
Entertainment.
All right, entertainment. Let's see here. What was the first toy to be advertised on television?
Ooh. The first toy. A slingshot. No.
You know
television.
what? I'm going to skip that because
Yeah?
I don't think that's
super rare.
I don't think that question's written the correct way.
Okay.
It's very
So,
confusing.
yeah, I got a free gas. And
Okay. Which Disney princess talks to the most animals? Which Disney princess talks to the most animals?
He has
Ariel.
3 daughters. He should know this.
no?
Snow White.
Snow White. All right, so she got a half a point.
Dang it.
So we've concluded round 2 and we're tied at a half a point each.
Okay.
All right, general, food and drink or entertainment, Takara?
I'll go food and drink.
Food and drink. All right, here's your question. Which is the only edible food that never goes bad?
What?
Which is the only edible food that never goes bad?
Edible food that
I didn't pre-screen any of these questions, by the way.
bad. I mean, this is just awful.
It's tough.
It is. And, I'm probably going to have to say a fruit roll up.
I wish if we were roll up in there. Yeah, it's great. You just stock up on
That
this
is
forever.
Batsu.
It's not fruit roll up. Okay.
I hope this counts as a food. Water.
It says honey.
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 Really? Well, I'm going.
All right. What's your round 3 question, category, Christian? General, food and drink, or entertainment?
Let's go back to general. Yeah.
All right, here we go. What is cynophobia? C-Y-N-O.
Oh, thank you for spelling it.
C-Y-N-O phobia. What is cynophobia?
Okay, because if it was S-I-N-O, I was definitely going to guess like it was some kind of a anti-Chinese sentiment or something. But
Afraid of sinning.
ooh, nice one. Is it a fear of blue? No.
Batsu.
Okay.
What? Yeah. What is cynophobia?
Well, I'm just going to go with a joke and it's a fear of signs.
No, it's a fear of dogs.
Oh, okay.
See why? Okay.
All right. We're in round 4. Takara, general, food and drink, or entertainment?
Food and drink.
Food and drink. Here we go. From which country does Gouda cheese originate?
Gouda.
So far, I don't think we've mentioned this country's name amongst all the people you interacted with in Japan, but there's a hint.
Oh, really?
Gouda cheese comes from which country?
Spain?
Batsu.
Belgium.
Probably pretty close. Netherlands.
Okay.
All right, you're round 4
Ooh,
category.
Some tough questions,
It's
Troy.
great. It's good stuff.
General, food and drink and entertainment.
General.
All right, let's see. That's too easy.
That's the one I want.
Who named the Pacific Ocean?
What?
Oh, wow.
Think of your explorers.
Right. I'm trying to think of the explorers, but who would have gone first? Who was the first one? Gosh, I really should know this.
I was testing this Portland education.
Yeah, right.
Southwest of
I
Portland.
didn't start learning anything until I was about 25, so I'm trying to catch up, Troy. Magellan?
Yes, he got it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going into round 5, and he's got a 1-point lead on you.
All right.
All right, food and drink, entertainment, or general?
Let's go entertainment.
All right, here we go. What famous U.S. festival hosted over 350,000 fans in 1969? This is softball. I gave you a softball.
Yeah, thank you. Woodstock?
Yeah, you got it.
Well done. Good.
All right, we're tied. All right, last question to Christian.
Okay.
Food and drink, general or entertainment?
Entertainment.
Should I give him a hard one, Takara?
Double heart, please.
What are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters?
Oh.
Ooh.
We might be ending here on a tie. I can just tell by that reaction.
Yeah,
Well, unless you got it, Takara.
I don't.
Now, I could have gone with which member of the Beatles married Yoko Ono. That's too easy.
Yeah.
So, what are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters?
Going with like.
One of them's the name of a Disney movie, ironically.
Yeah.
And the other one sounds like a yummy dessert.
Wow. I've still drawn a complete blank
All right.
here. I'm going with
Drew's-
like Lucinda and Cruella, which is a
Yeah,
totally
Cruella.
other character and all that. Yeah.
All right, Takara,
So
you got
what
it.
what do you got?
No, I don't know.
You kind of were saying it.
I was gonna say Drusilla, something
That's
like
one.
that.
That's Drizella.
Yeah, and you said one sounded like a yummy dessert.
What? That was Drizella. I'm just thinking like drizzle, like drizzle.
Oh,
The other one's a Disney movie name,
Disney.
I think.
It's not Cruella.
No.
It's
Starts with letter A.
Ariel.
Anastasia.
Oh,
All right, so we ended in a tie.
yay! Cool.
We'll leave it at that.
We can.
I don't believe you. You're disappointed. You wanted to win.
It's all right.
Well,
I played a long game. It's all right.
it's been a pleasure having you both.
It's been fun.
We're hitting the 2-hour mark,
Thank
which
you.
is good.
Thanks for
Flies
having
by,
us.
doesn't
This
it?
is so
Thank
fun.
you. Seriously. Fantastic.
Tell all your friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
we will.
You got any final thoughts or shout outs?
Oh, full list of shout outs. So first, Barnes and Noble. They just have been great allies in helping get Huntsville magazine out there and in people's hands. Kayla at Ella Terre and the Crunkletons at I forgot their
Roosevelt
store
and
name.
Company,
Roosevelt and
Megan.
Company.
Yeah.
Yes, Megan. 106 in Jefferson, the owners of the Standard Social. And you gotta help.
I mean,
me,
so many
babe.
people. Didn't want to interrupt you. I mean,
okay.
we've had. I mean, shout outs to so many fantastic partners. So Tom Brown's Restaurant and Dentistry Today, and SportsMed. That crew is fantastic over there and what they're doing.
Coin co-working.
We
with
love Coin. If you're out there and you're looking for a great spot that's not a traditional office space, Coin is it. Yeah, we love our local wine brand, who is
Côte de
not
Femme.
Côte de Femme, who and they're not so local. They're this incredible global brand, and
Awesome.
check out their wines. And look, if you want to subscribe, we got a special Our Town discount. So
nice.
Subscribe at huntsvillemagazine.com. Use the code OurTown for a 30% discount on the subscription there. Yeah, it's subscribe to huntsvillemagazine.com, and it's Our Town. You don't have to put the podcast, just Our Town.
Yeah, that works.
And this will be evergreen. So
Yeah.
whoever is listening to this like 10 years from now, you go to Huntsville Magazine, the code will still work.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be there.
I love it. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure having you two on.
Thank you, Troy. I've enjoyed this so much. It was so much fun, and I love your podcast.
Well, thank you.
You're a great intervieer.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I try to do my research.
Sir,
but I really enjoy
thorough.
it. I enjoy it.
It was. I apologize now, knowing how much research you do. It was probably relatively difficult to do research on me. I can imagine, because I've just been.
I don't want to give you.
social.
I haven't. Yeah, I mean, some of it's function of age. Some of it's a common name.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I think I scared John Kinsley. I had a guest on named John Kinsley, former brigadier general, whatever. I should not brigadier. It was a brigade commander, but he's got this unique name, and he's from Michigan. And guess what? If your name's Kinsley, then you're related in this part of Michigan. Right. And I showed him a newspaper clipping, and he was like, "I've never seen that." It was of him and his grandfather when he was 13 years old at like a state fair.
Yeah.
Oh
and I'm like, well, you have a kind of you know, like if there's something out there, you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
But a Christian Byrd, CJ Byrd, those can be tougher. You know, we're a little older. Not everything's digitized.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also talking to husband and wife at the same time. So it's like, you know, I can go down this way or we can go down that way, but we have to like keep it together.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes back to like when I did football games for 3 hours. You have to have a lot of material, and I fixate on material. Like ultimately, I won't even we hardly even touch the surface of things we could have talked about. And that's the goal. Like when you're doing a 3-hour game, is do you have enough stuff that you never worry like, what am I going to talk about in the fourth quarter?
Right.
And so for me in my brain and the way I do stuff, I never want dead air. I never want dead stuff, and I fill my mind with this like just as many facts as I can. So that I know that, you know, we're going to talk, but if I'm not prepared, you know, and the guest is expecting to be kind of questioned, then it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And I think my football training or just play-by-play training has really helped me to prepare for interviews.
Well, you definitely were prepared. I was like, wow, how'd you know that? Where'd you get those pictures from?
Oh, that's just that. And I would tell people like, these are from your Facebook, your Instagram.
Go, wow.
Sure.
But usually there's a story.
Yeah.
You know, you can get a sense of like, I think there's a story to this picture or that picture, you know, and I wanted to see the grandma. So anyway.
Miss Margaret Stewart.
Well, hey, have a great day. I look forward to receiving my first issue, my new subscribership, and we'll spread the word. We'll cut this probably into 2 parts.
Okay.
One part will be pretty much when we're just talking about the magazine, and the other part will all stitch together, and we kind of be everything else.
Cool.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Takara, CJ, thank you very much.
Thanks, Troy.
Have a good one.
You too.